Hey, this is Lou Mangello from WDW Radio, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Let's do this.
The tangents this week continue all the way to episode 147 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. And in the dump truck of news, the biggest dump truck with Mickey Mouse on the side has backed up, tipped itself over, and we're just buried. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week. We'll go to the virtual table and see who joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
And this is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Oh, my goodness. We have so much to talk about.
I know. But we knew we would, and then there was one little late breaking thing that dropped on Friday and then Sunday.
Yes.
It's like, do you not realize we have enough to talk about BBC?
And then we have a few 10 o'clock news items.
Unfortunately. So it's just, and if dear listener, if you paid attention to the episode title, normally, when this time of year comes around, when these particular events happen, that we call them Fandom Christmas, and it's usually Disney Fandom Christmas. But because the convention gods apparently decided that D23 and San Diego Comic-Con needed to be one right after the other, this is essentially this week and next week are just going to be one big Fandom Christmas news episode. So this is part one.
Yep.
But let's get into the non-D23 Expo news first. But this is really just going to be one big news episode for the most part, so gird your loins, people.
And eventually we'll get to talk about Spider-Man.
Yes.
We don't know when.
Spider-Man Homecoming is coming at some point. We'll get to Spidey eventually, we promise. Hopefully before Thor Ragnarok comes out.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Oh boy, that'd be quite the wait. Anyway, so yeah, well, let's see. As Holly alluded to, there is a bit of 10 o'clock news. Trevor Baxter, otherwise known as Professor George Lightfoot from Doctor Who, Jago and Lightfoot, passed away. That news hit this morning. This is Monday as we're recording. Big Finish were the ones to kind of, well, they were the first ones I saw breaking the news, and another Doctor Who sites have talked about it since then, because Big Finish had a whole series of Jago and Lightfoot with Trevor Baxter and Christopher Benjamin. I was like, where the heck is the other name? My brain is just fried today. I'm blaming pregnancy brain. So the link, or the link that we have is from Big Finish, and they're talking about how Jago and Lightfoot were kind of a big hit in the serial Talons of Wang Chiang from back in the Tom Baker story back in the 70s, and he it was in and Trevor Baxter was in the theater a lot, and some of his other acting credits. But the one bit that will be interesting to Doctor Who fans is he continued to perform past a typical retirement age to write and perform on stage, screen, and the mic. Trevor has been an invaluable part of Big Finish, and since May 2009, the Jago and Lightfoot series has delighted listeners and remained a fan favorite. The last volume to be recorded was released just this year. With 13 series in 8 years, Trevor and Christopher have been some of our most prolific and joyful performances. Trevor will be greatly missed. Our thoughts are with his family and friends at this time. And I just want to echo that, because if you've seen, well, I can't say Talons of Wang Chiang is my absolute favorite Doctor Who serial, but the Jago and Lightfoot are kind of, they are really a delight.
They kind of make the story.
Yeah. Yes. They really do. I mean, they don't really team up till the end, but then if you ever get to listen to any of their Big Finish stuff, it's just, it's a treat. And so when I saw that, I was just like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see it, but I have my pouty lip sad out. So.
And then also Martin Landau had passed away at the age of 89, father of Juliet Landau, who did a guest starring role on Buffy, and then also George Romero, who was the director of the Night of the Living Dead fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read an article about George Romero, and one of the first comments was "Rest in peace," but someone better keep an eye on that body for a couple of days.
Yeah, I saw a lot of those kind of jokes going around, and I'm just kind of like, you know, if it had been anybody else, you'd probably,
that's
probably
inappropriate, but yeah.
Yeah, like
bad taste, but this is a very
This is like that would be a joke like he would have.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
If he I could I don't know what his humor was, but if I was him and knew that my time was coming, and I was surrounded by friends and family, as I'm laying on my deathbed and knew I was getting ready to pass, and be like, someone tie me down just in case. Have an axe handy.
I mean,
cut off the head first.
I saw similar jokes going around in all kinds of different that I follow, and so it's just kind of like, it's just sort of a good sentiment. So, but definitely, it's a little bit of a sad weekend on that score.
Yeah. But if the zombie apocalypse starts later this week.
We know
who to blame.
Yeah, we know who the ringleader of that party is.
Yeah, they say these things come in threes.
Mm-hmm.
And there was 3 really quickly, back to back to back. So, but it bites. So
it does.
Yeah.
So, and then continue.
We'll move on to some convention guest announcements in this case. We had a last-minute addition to Time Lord Expo. I thought that Nev was going to be our last edition, aka Lady Vastra, but we managed to, or Patrick, I say we, like I had any handle in helping secure the guests, but it's like, it's my convention too. Patrick and the folks over at Time Lord Expo have managed to snag Rosie Jane, who her name might be immediately recognizable, like Sylvester McCoy and all that, but she played Bill's mom in the most recent season of Doctor Who. This will actually be her first convention appearance. So she should be a fun addition to Time Lord Expo.
She also played a Time Lord, right? A Time Lady. If I remember reading right.
No idea.
I think I saw she in the Day of the Doctor. She played.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You know how it is in Britain. They only got 12 actors, so.
True.
Right.
Keep reusing people. And like, just change your hair and makeup, and nobody will know it was you. Sometimes. Sometimes they look exactly the same as the time they were used earlier in the series.
Yeah.
And then Salt Lake Comic-Con has had a bunch of artist guests too, but celebrity-wise, they've added Joan Cusack and Milo Ventimiglia.
Yeah. I posted the Milo Ventimiglia announcement on our Facebook page, and Sarah Miles, Keith's wife, posted in there, said, "I'm so jealous," and I should have replied, and I didn't.
Too.
I said, "Well, I'm jealous too, because I'm not gonna get to go." But we have Joan Cusack, and I think we talked maybe earlier, or maybe not, but John Cusack's going to be there as well. So it's just, and then I've heard rumors, and I'm not going to say of who, but I've heard rumors of them. There's going to be possibly some very big names, but I obviously don't want to say and spread rumors that might not be true. Yeah. But I have to miss. Although Jared's like, he's trying to finagle a way to go anyway, even though that the week that Comic-Con is the first week he's supposed to be back to work after taking time off for when the baby's born. So he's only going to be able to go one day because that'd be his normal day off anyway. And so I'm just like, here, take money, get me Catherine Tate's autograph, please. That's all I really want.
Go do the thing, just bring me back the thing that I really
Yes.
want.
Yes.
You're allowed to have fun without me as long as you bring me back this.
Yes.
You have my blessing.
Yes. It's like, as long as, at first I was like, well, maybe I'll just, because my brother and sister-in-law are going to go. I was like, well, maybe I'll just send the money with them. And Jared's like, maybe I'll just go. I'm like, that's fine. I don't know. We haven't figured it out yet if that's actually going to be a thing, but I am definitely planning on enlisting some help on getting Catherine Tate's autograph.
And then Fan Expo Canada announced Jason Isaacs.
Woohoo!
Which he is, I don't know if he was already planned or not, but in this case, I guess he's a substitution because Matthew Lewis had to cancel. So they're like, they posted on Facebook, they're like, Matthew Lewis unfortunately has to cancel. By the way, stay tuned for a Harry Potter announcement in like 30 minutes. I'm like, well, that's an awfully quick turnaround, which makes me think Jason was probably already planned. And it just so happens that instead of Neville, we're getting Lucius Malfoy instead. So.
Lucius Malfoy is a good choice.
Yes.
I mean, he's a baddie in the books, but I like Jason Isaacs quite a bit.
Well, now he can. I'm assuming he's going to be playing a good guy in Star Trek Discovery. So.
Well, yeah, he's like
crossed. He's got that going for him. Hopefully,
Captain Admiral something or other. I'd have to look it up, but
hopefully, if he's working for Starfleet, he's a good guy. But you never know. So.
Well, that is true. Because we've been going through DS9, and there are some Starfleet officers that they're not really villains so much, but they're more like antagonists.
Yes.
From what I've seen so far, I mean,
Yep. So, here's your convention news, and then the 2017 Emmy Award nominations were announced earlier in the week, and for once I actually know some of the things that are nominated. Usually these things are like completely lost on me. I'm like, I don't watch any of these things, but shows like The Crown and Stranger Things got nominated for Outstanding Drama Series.
I'm pulling for Stranger Things to win it because holy crap.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Claire Foy got nominated for The Crown. Speaking of Milo, Milo got nominated for This Is Us for lead actor in a drama series. I haven't watched Westworld yet, but I heard it's really good. That got nominated for several things. Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things.
Go, Millie!
Yeah. There's a lot more recognizable things and people nominated than normally, at least in the drama category. So comedy, I'm kind of lost just because I don't watch most TV comedy series.
Well, the comedy landscape's kind of changed a bit from when we were growing up.
That is true.
Yeah. So, but
at the risk of sounding like a grumpy old lady, I just don't get the jokes these days.
Yeah, really. Carrie Fisher did get nominated for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Comedy Series, though, for Catastrophe. So that's good. Lots of nominations for Saturday Night Live, actually, for comedy series. So had three different guest hosts for Saturday Night Live got nominated: Dave Chappelle, Tom Hanks, and Lin-Manuel Miranda. So yeah, so you can always Sherlock, the Lying Detective, got Outstanding Made for TV Movie. So we got that going for us.
Nice.
So Benedict Cumberbatch got nominated for that as well. So. It's a long list of nominees because there's a lot of categories, obviously, because it's the Emmys. So there's a lot of when you get into TV, it's not there's TV, there's talk shows, there's made for TV
reality
movies.
shows.
Yeah, there's reality shows. So,
which I don't understand why the talk series and reality have categories, but oh well. I just don't understand. But
I think everybody has to have a category because everybody wants to get a little shiny trophy and have people falling over them and.
Probably.
Now here's my soapbox moment. Why
Sure.
can't they have a science fiction and fantasy category for the Emmys?
Yeah, really.
right?
Well, the Dragon Awards
True.
at Dragon Con, you can nominate for those. But yeah,
still.
I know.
Science fiction and fantasy doesn't get its own category for like the Emmys and the Golden Globes and fun stuff like that. Like Game of Thrones would get lumped into the drama category if
That's true.
But you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If they're individualizing these talk shows and reality TV, come on, let's show the love to the other.
I know. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
You know where I'm coming from.
Oh yeah. It's a broken record of ours where the stuff we like never gets nominated for anything and never wins. So
yeah, we sound like we're whining, but at the same time, it's just kind of like I don't know. These award shows are not for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's really what it boils down to.
Our tastes don't quite line up with the where they like to pat themselves on the back. Although things like Stranger Things, it's nice that they're getting included. It's like it's like we're kind of getting included. Yay!
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know the 1 year Spike had a Screamers Awards, or at least for a couple years running for, the horror genre. And it's like, okay, sci-fi, you're missing your chance.
Yeah. Maybe we should start our own.
Yeah, we should start ours. I'd have to think of a name for them.
Yeah.
The 5E Awards.
The 5E Awards.
5E
There we go.
Awards.
I was trying to think of a catchy term, but I like that. And we'll just award the things that we like because that's what award shows do. They pick the ones they like. This is the best.
Yep.
But I do People's Choice does have a little better than all the other ones.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because we get a chance to vote for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's true. People's Choice and the Teen Choice Awards. So.
That's
true.
Anyway. But yeah, Emmy Awards, so the Emmys are kind of the kickoff to, I guess, acting award season. So we'll have the Emmys and we'll get the Golden Globes later this year, and then of course we'll get the Oscars again in the early 2018. So it seems like it doesn't take very long before like award season starts. Like, didn't we just have the Oscars?
Yeah, that is true.
Anyway.
I don't think there's like any one season. I think it's just kind of they're just always there. There's always some award show going on.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know.
Like the ESPYs, the ESPN awards were like a week or so ago. And the only reason I know about that is because Peyton Manning was hosting, and his monologue was just so hilarious. And I love you, Peyton. Most of it was he was making fun of himself. It was great.
He does a good job of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Then he did jokingly throw some shade at Aaron Rodgers and that, but it was still good.
Although the joke he had at Kevin Durant's expense, I was just like, dude, you kind of deserve that.
Yeah.
And Durant just had this crusty look on his face, and I'm just kind of like, sorry?
Yeah.
I'm over here, but you really need to get over it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awards
Yes.
season. It's always
Mm-hmm.
around. Anyway.
Yeah.
That was a tangent.
Now moving on to the shows that we like that don't get enough love, I guess.
No, I was sitting there going like, "Where's Outlander's love?"
Yeah.
Come on, guys,
Yeah.
Outlander's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
anyway.
Sam and Catriona deserve a few nods their way from last season.
Yeah, seriously. But anyway, we get to show more love to Outlander when it returns on September 10th.
Yay! Nice lady birthday present. Yay!
Hooray! So I'm excited. I'm excited because this is season 3, so it's the third book, Voyager, and I really loved that one. I mean, the first two were really good, and
Voyager,
really
I kind of steamrolled through that one. I was like, wait a minute, let's take your time.
Yes, I mean, that one has my heart. So far, I'm still working my way through the series, but so far,
I'm finally making some headway on the Snow and Ashes. There was one little bumpy part, but I got over the bump.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't sound a horrible fan, but I still need to catch up on season 2. But I found a way.
Hey,
So
there is time. There's time. It's only July, and you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So mark your calendars, set your DVRs, or buy your season passes on, I don't know if it's on iTunes or whatever, wherever you find it, wherever you watch it. Get ready for it to come back.
Yeah. All right, and let's move on to our last big piece of news. Yeah,
I think it's still breaking the internet, and I'm sitting there going like, okay, people.
Yeah, even though I knew we were going to talk about this on the show, I still felt compelled to write a post on my personal blog about it, just because the trolls and the comments are just, oh my god, I should stay out of the comments. Out of the comments, because it's been kind of ugly in the land of supposed Doctor Who fans. I'm using air quotes here. Doctor Who fans.
Well, I think
they're entitled to their own opinion, but when you start name calling and getting more past that line, then
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, and I honestly, I'm gonna say this on all sides. I don't care whether you like this, whether you like this casting announcement, whether you hate it, whatever your reason for it. There have been, just on all sides, there have just been some really awful people. And I don't care what your opinion is if you, but we'll get into this.
Yes.
Soapboxes at the ready, ladies.
Yes. So we've been waiting somewhat anxiously to find out who is going to be replacing Peter Capaldi. He announced earlier in the year that he was going to be stepping away from the TARDIS after the season. We're like, okay, that sucks. I don't want him to go, as we talked about when we talked about season 10.
We feel this way every time.
Yes.
There's a new doctor.
We don't want him to go.
And one's coming in.
It's a nasty, vicious cycle. But
feeling of trepidation.
Yes. Yeah.
Each time, and this a little more because we're getting a new showrunner as well.
Yes.
Yeah, this basically,
and also a new companion so
too, which people seem to
kind
be forgetting.
Kind of uncharted territory. So we're
Yeah.
all a little nervous.
Exactly. So we're, that obviously, we went through this before Capaldi got announced. There were names getting thrown everywhere, anywhere from no-name, actor that we've never heard of to Idris Elba to Tom Hiddleston, and, just the rumors that run wild. Of course, we got that weird live announcement thing with Peter when they announced Peter, which was just odd. So apparently the BBC decided that, a little less fanfare was required.
Well, and I I think with Peter, I think it's because it was the 50th anniversary year. They thought, well, let's make a big deal out of it because it's part of the celebration.
Yeah,
so I kind of think that played a part of it.
Yeah. So this time they kind of went the route that they did when they announced Pearl Mackie as the companion, where they've just made a short little promo video, and it got aired on BBC and BBC America. In this case, it aired right after the Wimbledon finals. How more British can you get? Let's announce a new doctor right after tennis. with the
and after everybody's watched Prince William, riffling through his freebie bag. I thought that was hilarious.
Exactly. Suddenly Wimbledon found their I'm sure they found their ratings to go astronomically through the roof.
Probably like in the last 5 minutes.
Half hour of airing. So I don't have BBC, but it got put on the internet like right after.
I was still asleep because time.
I actually they said that the men's final was supposed to start at 2 UK time, so that would have been 9 a.m. for me. So I'm like, okay, and nobody, because the way that tennis is scored, there's no idea how to know how long the match is going to take. It depends on how many, if someone gets through, I guess it's like best of 5 sets, I think. I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't follow tennis.
It's done in sets, and it's like majority, whoever wins so many sets in a full game wins, but each individual set, you have to win by so many points to actually win it. Tennis is weird and complicated, and I don't really care for it, but that's just... Anyway, so there was no hard knowing of when the announcement was going to come, because there's no idea to know when the matches were going to be over. But anyway, it ended, and it got aired, and then almost immediately it was on the internet, and the internet sort of self-destructed, and I watched it, and I'm watching it, it's like this cool, like the doctor is walking through the woods, and we only see them from the back, and the doctor looks like the raided Sherlock's closet, this coat. They're like, we need to film this thing. Well, we don't know what the new outfit's going to be. Go steal Cumberbatch's coat from the Sherlock set. He's not using it right now.
Although the hoodie that was under the coat looked kind of Capaldi-ish.
It's very Capaldi-ish. Yeah. So the doctor is walking through the woods. The TARDIS appears. Key, they had this whole teaser thing where the key was showing up at different spots around the world. So the key appears in the doctor's hands. The hood comes back, and we find out the doctor is gonna be a woman.
It was gonna happen.
And people lost themselves.
I don't know what people were expecting. I'm like, they've been setting this up for the past 2, 3, 4 seasons, maybe?
Yes, pretty much.
And it's like, if they had specifically, let's give her name,
yes,
Jodie Whittaker.
Jodie Whittaker.
Yep. And I took me a minute to place her, as she apparently was, I watched the first season of Broadchurch and quite liked it, but she played the mom of the boy who got killed in Broadchurch. Yes. And I was like, it took me a really long time to remember, because all I remember from Broadchurch is David Tennant, Olivia Colman, Arthur Darvill, and David Bradley. All Doctor Who related.
Yes,
Jodie
she's a brunette.
Like a brown brunette.
Yeah. That's why I was having such a hard time. Like, they were saying, "Oh, she was in Broadchurch." I was like, "She was?"
Yeah. Change the hair color.
Was it a blink and I miss?
Yes.
And then they're like, "No, she was the mom." I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of an important role in that show."
Okay.
I don't remember. But then, then I saw pictures and like, oh, different hair. That's why I couldn't recall.
As someone who's been formerly blonde, I totally get that.
Yeah.
It's a significant change when you're blonde versus a brunette. It can be significant on how you look. But anyway.
So anyway, my initial reaction was the exact same. Was the reaction I had when Peter Capaldi was announced. Let's see how she does.
Exactly.
And like, what more can you do, or what more can you say at that point?
Yeah.
Unless you're like a big fan of her and you're like, oh, I loved her in Broadchurch or whatever other show that she's been in.
Apparently, she was in some science fiction movie with John Boyega as all people. So if you want to see the new Doctor and Finn from Star Wars be in a science fiction movie together, go on that down.
Yeah.
Apparently she's quite good in that. So like, it was kind of the same thing with Peter Capaldi. They like announced Peter Capaldi. I'm like, yay! I have no idea who you are and what your body of work is and how capable of an actor you are, but sure, why not?
And
I mean, a lot of the...
Fires of Pompeii, and then he played Frobisher and Torture, and I'm just like, okay.
I did not put two and two together.
Frobisher, I'm just like...
I had to like go back and re-watch those just because I've got a terrible memory for faces. So, like, people are like, Peter Capaldi, he's been in Doctor Who already. I'm like, he has? Like, yeah, he's in Fires of Pompeii. He was? He was in Torchwood. He was? Just like Karen. It's like Karen Gillan.
What have I seen this person in before? Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, I mean, this is kind of my, the casting announcement I am fine with. I mean, it's, anyone... And there are people. And this is my other kind of thought that I had is like there were people who when David Tennant left, a lot of people were upset. They quit watching the show. When Matt Smith left, a lot of people are upset. They quit watching the show. With Peter Capaldi, I suspect there will be people who were going to quit watching the show just because Peter Capaldi left or Moffat left, or they don't like Chris Chibnall or whatever. And kind of my gripe about some of the reaction. And I'm not saying that there aren't people out there who are being all, oh, it's a woman, blah, blah, blah. We can't, the show's ruined forever. In which case, I saw this comment on Facebook, and I can't take credit for it, but it was actually kind of funny. This guy said, How do they know it's already ruined? Do they get a time machine, and where can I get one?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and somebody else posted too, like, okay, change to color, that's going to ruin the show. Change to this, that's going to ruin the show. Change to that, that's going to ruin the show. And here we are, X number of years later.
Yeah. The show has been going on for so long for a reason, because the entire premise of Doctor Who is about change and adaptation and embracing the unknown and accepting people for who they are and finding the good in every situation. And this is just another one of those things.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I read a post on Facebook too. A guy watched when it first came out, and he's just like, when I heard that Patrick Troughton and Pertwee were going to come in, I decided not to watch, and I missed out on some of the best episodes that are no longer around because I didn't give him a shot or her a shot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and this is my other thing, kind of going back to people. People have different tastes, and people, maybe they start watching when Jodie starts her run, and maybe they don't like it. I mean, maybe it's the showrunner, maybe it's this. What I don't like is people automatically saying, "Oh, you're not sure about this announcement. You're not sure if you're going to like it. Well, you must hate women. You're a sexist. You're this." And I'm just kind of like, okay, we've had this. I know people. I have friends who are Doctor Who fans, but they can't stand Stephen Moffat. Fair enough. Or they couldn't stand Matt Smith, or they were so attached to David Tennant. Like, there were people after this announcement that were said, "Well, I don't care about the show because David Tennant didn't come back." Yeah, it's like, and it's that kind of thing, and it's like, well, they're not being sexist because of that comment. They're loyal to David Tennant. I mean, maybe I think that's kind of silly because I like Doctor Who and all its incarnations, and no matter who's playing. But I'm just like, that's not a fair accusation to level at something, and I kind of feel like that's just being used as a beating stick to say, "Oh, you're just a terrible person because you don't like it because she's a woman." And I'm just like, oh, come on, people, get over it. It's like,
I mean, there are some people that are like ready to walk away because she is a woman, and if that's the case, like, fine, we don't want you in our club anyway.
Yeah. Although I don't know that I like. I mean, it's their choice. Yeah. I mean, there's no one standing at the gate saying
it's absolutely their choice, but I just find it ironic that a show that is based on inclusivity and peace and understanding and everything, that these people are threatening and saying awful, nasty things that I would not want to repeat in front of my grandmother.
Oh yeah.
Just because they cast, a woman doctor and are bad mouthing the show and Chris Chibnall and the people at the BBC and all these things.
Well,
it's like
people badmouth Moffat when he cast Capaldi because they all said, "Oh, he's too old" or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of the same thing, and it's like, I don't know. I have another friend on Facebook who, this is kind of what I have his post up, just kind of talking about it a little bit, and I do kind of like how he said, and I think some people do kind of feel this way, is like he says, I'm not keen on how this was instantly politicized. Like, if she's not immediately my favorite Doctor based on the announcement alone, is it supposed to say something about my character? Yeah, I'm not playing that game. Important tip to fans: trying to alienate half the fan base is a good way to kill off the thing you're a fan of.
Yes.
Let's hope the creators treat her as just another Doctor. Is there such a thing? And that she brings some really fun quirks and twists to the character. And that's kind of where I am. It's like, let's not make this a big political statement because
I don't think it necessarily is. There's so many people that are so convinced that the BBC and Chibnall and Moffat and all that, hired her and are doing a female Doctor just for the sake of doing a female Doctor. No, they're going to hire the person they think is best for the role and for the stories that they want to tell for the upcoming season. Chibnall obviously has a story that he wants to tell for, about the Doctor and whoever the Doctor's companion is going to be. Don't forget, we're also getting a new companion. People are like all up in arms about this, and it's like, I'd love to see how they react to, if they, when they cast a new companion and they're like, oh, by the way, the companion's, not human or something. Like,
I would be totally cool with that.
Yeah,
let's
it's like, people threw a hissy fit when they hired, Pearl, and they introduced Bill, and they're like, by the way, Bill, she's black, she's a lesbian. Boom, and people are like, oh my god. It's like, I'd love to see how people react if we got a companion like Chameleon or something. It's like, oh, they're not even human. Deal with that. So it's like I
think people don't like to be hit over the head with a certain message, I think. And I don't think that's what Doctor Who is doing, because they have set this up for several years now with Missy, and they've dropped other little lines like, Time Lords can regenerate male or female, things like that.
And they have some control over the regeneration.
It's been done with care and consideration, and not just like, here, we're doing this because it's the politically correct thing to do, and we're gonna beat you over the head with it. Yeah,
regenerated on screen from male to female.
Yeah, so that is. Yeah. So it's not a Ghostbusters thing where they're just like, here, you have to love this because it's female.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Exactly.
Now, and it's like, no, it's not. It's very different. And I will be the first to say that I thought the Ghostbusters decision was really stupid. Yeah. And the movie the movie itself was really stupid. Yeah. And it just was like. It was bad, and the way they treated people who questioned it was really bad too, and it was like that kills your franchise. But the way Doctor Who has handled it, they've done well. Yeah. I years ago when I first heard the idea of, oh, the Doctor could be a woman, I was like, you gotta do it right, otherwise it just seems like you're pandering. And I think that's what a lot of people who are skeptical of it, they feel like it's pandering a little bit, but I think if you've been watching the show, I don't think it is pandering. Yeah. I could see where they would think that. Yeah. Kind of a thing. And I know I feel like it sounds like I'm talking, both sides. I'm trying to take both sides, and I'm not. It's just kind of the best way I can describe it is, if you've ever played Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I know this is kind of an obscure reference, there's and I haven't played it, but Jared has. There is a moment, and he plays the smuggler. There's a moment where the smuggler is confronted by a Sith and a Jedi, and the Sith tries to do the Force mind control thing. You want to kill the Jedi. The Jedi says, you want to drop your weapons. And the smuggler raises his hands and says, "Would you stop waving your hands in front of you? You both look like idiots."
Yeah.
And so that's where I am. Is everybody, you look like idiots. Just stop.
Yep.
Is kind of my thing. So there's my take on it.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think that, it's like everyone's entitled to their opinion, but when like Holly said, once you start name calling and start making threats and that sort of thing, then sorry, you're not welcome to the party anymore.
Well, and if you decide that Doctor Who isn't your thing anymore, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend who is like a big Tennant fangirl, and she has not watched the show since Tennant left. And I think she might have given Capaldi a chance because he's Scottish, but I don't think she's.
Yeah.
And that's cool too.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jodie Whittaker.
Yes.
I want to see what she does.
Yes. Wait and see. So I mean, we're not even going to see her. Like, we'll get the regeneration probably towards the end of the Christmas special, and like, boom, there she is. And then we don't know when season 11 is going to come back, so.
Right.
We get like 2 minutes of her at the end of the Christmas special.
More than likely. And then,
and 2 minutes is not going to be, you have to give it at least 3 episodes before you say,
yeah,
I'm going to wait a season. You
yeah.
don't make your judgment on 2 minutes of time.
Yeah, exactly.
And besides, I am still really excited for Capaldi and David Bradley and that whole whatever they're doing at Christmas. I think I'm excited for this 12th and first Doctor episode,
Adventure.
whatever it is they're doing with it. I'm like, what are you guys doing? And you brought back David Bradley to play the first Doctor. It's like, okay, there's something bizarrely bonkers going on, and I think I'm gonna like it.
Yep.
I hope I'm gonna like it.
Right.
I am eager to like it.
Yep.
Give me something to like.
Yep.
But anyway.
Yeah. Welcome, Jodie.
Welcome, Jodie.
Welcome to the fandom. I'm sure she's probably well aware of what was going to happen when they made this announcement. But the one interview that I've seen so far, she's fully aware that her casting was going to be controversial and hopes that
every casting announcement's
pretty much. I mean, they could have cast Idris Elba, I know
Idris Elba would have been awesome.
Yeah, he would have been awesome, but then there still would have been people that were complaining
my
about
brother-in-law,
it. So.
It's funny you brought that up. Last night at dinner, we went to family dinner. My brother-in-law was asking us like what we thought, and he was like, "I'm only disappointed because it wasn't Idris Elba."
Yeah.
And I'm like, somebody too was, saying, you're kind of miffed about recasting. It's like, what about the new Battlestar Galactica? And they recast Apollo, and not too many people made a brouhaha about that.
Yeah, it's more of the same, and I think the Doctor Who fans are, with few exceptions, present company included, Doctor Who fans are just really whiny.
Yeah,
and they don't do well with change, which is ironic given how much the show changes over time. Fandom, I don't get you.
Yeah,
we're
weird.
Don't. Or I get you, but I still don't get you.
Bless your hearts.
I don't get myself sometimes. It's like, it's like, I love Doctor Who, obviously. It's one of my favorite fandoms in the entire universe, and the whole show is based on change. Yet, when I was a kid, I gave up Power Rangers because it changed one too many times. I couldn't handle it. So,
yeah. I don't know. I'm like, and the other thing too is, and I'll say this briefly, is there's so many female fans who cosplay as the Doctor, and they come up with all these really cool costumes and different things like that. So it's like, it's not like not having a woman playing the Doctor has really hindered their fandom or their enjoyment of the show at all. I mean, I've cosplayed as the 10th Doctor as not, Femme 10. I've just, bought a suit and tailored it, and I'm the 10th Doctor. Full stop.
Exactly.
So
I'm like, get the we don't know what her outfit's going to be because the outfit in the promo is not what she's going to be wearing as the Doctor. She looks like she was, she just fresh off regeneration and she stole Sherlock's jacket from 221B Baker Street.
Although she did look good in that jacket, I gotta say.
I was like, it's a good look. I would totally be down for that, being the outfit. I'm like, hey, that looks like a comfy cosplay right there. I'm totally down for that. But
comfy, and it would be easy to come by all the pieces.
Exactly. I'm always down for a doctor's outfit that's comfy and practical.
Yeah. Although I will say this, Jared is like, well, because we don't know if the Master's going to be back or anything like that. But he's like, we should do a Doctor Master cosplay with this Doctor, where he would be the Doctor and I would be the Master, and really mess with people.
That would be awesome.
Or the companion or whatever ends up happening. Because like we said, we don't know yet.
Exactly.
For me, that's kind of a lot of the fun too with Doctor Who. Like, as much as I love the show, and sometimes I hate the waiting, but I like trying to maybe guess who's gonna be the next companion, what's the
TARDIS interior going to look like, Is she going to give me a sonic screwdriver? Is she going to keep the current one? It's like, what's her catchphrase going to be,
And is she going to change the desktop in the TARDIS?
Exactly.
Yeah. Is the library still going to be?
Did Capaldi really have much of a catchphrase? Now that I'm thinking about it,
not really.
I don't think so.
Really?
Not like Alonzi and Geronimo. No, not like his
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah. That kind of
though that were never used again that are quite quotable.
Yeah. He had a lot of really good speeches too. So maybe that was his catchphrase.
Maybe
the speeches.
The speeches.
Anyway, that's our.
Anyway, so we're. I guess it was more of a diatribe against fandom and all the crazy weirdness that they get up to.
I think for us, as far as the casting concern, is great. Let's see what she can do.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much. That was my thought.
Yep.
That's how. I will say this: I am pleased and shocked that they were able to pull this off.
Yes, that it didn't leak sooner.
It did not leak sooner, considering, as far as we know, nobody knew that Peter Capaldi had been cast, but all of the betting pools had him as top choice, which makes me wonder if maybe someone knew something. I don't think Jodie's name was ever mentioned by anyone. If you had said Chris Chibnall is going to bring in one of the female actors from Broadchurch as the new Doctor, everyone thought it was going to be Olivia Colman.
Yeah,
Jodie was never.
I think Olivia Colman was top a lot of people's list.
Jodie was never mentioned in anything I ever saw.
Trend.
Yeah, so the fact that they hired her and was able to do this, and it was a complete surprise to everyone, bravo.
Indeed.
So
I like surprises.
Oh yeah.
Although I have
when they found out at the con, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've already seen headcanon now because of Alex Kingston's reaction. I've already seen headcanon. It's like, is this incarnation of the Doctor that second wife River is referring to?
Yeah.
Husbands of River song.
Who knows?
Yeah.
They could have been paving the way with that one. Yeah, she didn't realize until 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys see? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Did you see Matt Lucas's tweet?
Yes.
Yeah. How dare they cast a human?
They cast a human. In typical Nardole fashion.
Yeah.
Yes.
How dare they cast a human? Oh my. Yeah. Anyway. So.
And your doctor, his tweet was very.
Oh
nice.
Yes.
Oh,
changed my dears about a moment too soon.
Which movie are you talking about? Yeah. I did like Peter Davison's tweet. that I actually retweeted it, and I said, this is why he's my favorite. And he says it might be more helpful to be encouraging and not simply scornful of fans who are uncertain about change.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's all been good. It's going to be fine.
It's going to be fine. It's okay. Just chill.
Take a breath.
Take a breath.
Take a chill.
Yep.
Chill out.
Yep.
And if you decide that the new version of Doctor Who is not what you would watch,
go to Hulu,
you've got years,
or not Hulu. Go to Amazon or BritBox and go watch your favorite Doctor.
Exactly. There's 50 years of glorious goodness that you can partake in, and Big Finish. I mean, there were several. I will say this: there were several times during this past season where I was like, if things don't turn, like really, I was there. There were times when I was just. This is with Capaldi, and I love Capaldi. He's wonderful. It's just some of the writing was not up to snuff. Yeah. I think I'll be more upset if Jodie Whittaker comes on and the stories she's given are crap.
Yeah, and that won't be her fault. That'll be on Chibnall and the writers.
Yeah.
So
that's, and for the sounds of things, the style of writing can be more like a writing room. So this is going to be, at least that's what I heard. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case, but this might be interesting.
Yeah. So I'm more concerned about the writing than the acting that they've got. So.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Because I've not been very impressed consistently by Chris Chibnall's writing. Although, maybe his show running's better. I don't know.
We will see.
Yeah, we will indeed.
All right. Well.
Anyway,
that's
off of that.
Yeah, well, we're gonna kind of stay on that topic because all our feedback is talking about the same things.
That was the commentary on our Facebook page yesterday.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
So, so we did get a few comments. Our first comment came from Joseph. And he says, this is obviously all about the new Doctor announcement. He said, at least it's not Tilda Swinton. She made Doctor Strange kind of a dull story-wise and acting-wise. I could swear I've seen the new Doctor before, though. I don't know where. She looks familiar. The name's familiar. It's going to drive me crazy, which I ended up clarifying for him. He said, honestly, it must be good to be the new writers for that show. Writing the first story has to be such a challenge. I mean, honestly, it's a 50-plus-year-old character that was generally male, who's now a female. It's going to be a challenge to come up with a great storyline that honors the past and continues with what's happened. It's exciting, I bet you, to make great. I'm so excited to see her Doctor Who episodes, despite her being number 13. Technically, she is number 13. I hope she's lucky with her companions. The past few Doctor's companions haven't been so lucky, which that's been the truth. There have been a lot of dead companions.
Dead, but not dead.
Dead, but not dead. Or as Glenn was saying, dead, but not dead.
Yeah.
He kept talking about Bill. It's like she was dead, but she wasn't dead. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, anytime you start over with a new Doctor, that's always rough. Because you gotta flesh out the new Doctor's personality, and what they're gonna be like, and the way they're gonna talk. David Tennant was all that very fast talky. Matt Smith was kind of a bit slower. He's very excitable still, but he didn't have that rapid fire speaking like David Tennant's Doctor does. Obviously, Capaldi's Doctor did a lot of yelling. So it's like anytime you start out with a new Doctor, regardless of gender, you want to start off on the right foot and hopefully don't have your Doctor strangling their companions.
You were reading my mind. Snickers or a nap?
Yes. So yeah, the Doctor and the writers and all that, they do have their work cut out for them. Anytime we start over, it's tough because we just do not know what to expect. So, and that has nothing to do with the fact that it's going to be a female doctor. It's just starting over with a fresh slate is always hard. So,
Yep.
So it's speaking of Jodie and where you may have seen her before. If anyone wants to go to that particular comment, I did link to her IMDb page. She doesn't have a very long list, so if you think you saw her from someplace other than Broadchurch, you don't have a lot of options, at least according to IMDb. So if you may want to refresh your memory there.
Can I say something real quick? I like that the new doctor judged my birthday. I saw it when I first looked up. I was like, I don't recognize that name. And then I looked on because at first IMDb didn't have anything. Does. Yeah. I'm like, oh yay!
Yeah. Oh, and she's born the same year Matt Smith was. So. Oh, nice.
So she's on the younger side.
Yeah. Well, because I remember reading one of the interviews she gave, and they were talking about. I can't remember what the question was, but she mentioned that she was when she was younger, the show wasn't on TV, so she didn't really. She didn't really grow up with it, and then I noticed oh yeah, I mean, obviously several years have passed, so Matt Smith is older now. Than I don't know, what am I saying? Anyway, they went younger again.
Yes,
that's what I'm going for.
Yeah,
she's the same age as Matt Smith is right now.
Yes,
not when he played the Doctor.
Yeah. And then our other comment came from Brian. He said, well, I'll be. The 13th Doctor will be a woman. I didn't think they would do it. Now, did they do it because she's right for the role or because they just wanted a woman? We shall see. We shall see. It almost sounds like it's coming from the first Doctor. I'm going to remain open-minded and hope for the best. And actually, this started a whole conversation between Brian, Chrissy, and myself. And then Chrissy made a comment, and then Brian commented back. He said, because you said something about Michelle Gomez, I think. And he said, Michelle Gomez was was a brilliant master, and I never thought that would happen. I just likened to how both Romanas, in ways, were Doctor-like, so it may all turn out well. I'm not against a female Doctor, although honestly the character would always just seem male to me. The role is what is important, and to be the one to play it for a new showrunner, new companion, and replace a strong Doctor, tough shoes to fill indeed. Being female will make it harder, I feel. So.
Yeah. And I just replied that, that's I said it was a fair assessment, and just kind of said if you find out that whatever about, I'm kind of, I'm leaving that option open for myself too, just because I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I may love it. She may be my very, very favorite.
Yeah.
And displace the 5th Doctor is my favorite. Heaven forbid.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really see anyone replacing my Doctor. Capaldi came close, but that's almost because Capaldi's Doctor reminds me so much of the 6th Doctor, and I think that's why I love him so much.
Every now and again I was thinking 12. Your 6 is showing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I'm being silly with that comment, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, thank you everyone for the comments, and thank you for being, not spouting vitriol on our Facebook page to everyone.
Honestly, I don't think there are. I mean, I'm sure there are people who are being really mean and hateful. I think they are very much in the minority.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be.
It's just
I'm not going to be through all.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny how everybody rushes to say I'm not sexist. I like her. And I just have concerns, and I'm just like, you don't have to clarify that you're not sexist. It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you have legitimate concerns, if you've seen her act in other things and you didn't feel she, did all well in the role, or you think, maybe she was lacking in something in a role, and therefore that makes you concerned about her acting ability, that I can understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I could totally get that.
And I can see people being concerned about Chris Chibnall taking over. I admit I have a few reservations, although Broadchurch was pretty good, so I just kind of think, well, maybe he's just a better showrunner. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just going off of his Doctor Who episodes, which have been kind of not stellar, but not terrible. It's not like Moffat when he came in and like every episode he'd written to that point was just like, oh my gosh, instant classic.
Yeah.
Which he did write some really good stuff during the RTD era. But well, we'll see.
Yep, we'll see. All right.
Anyway,
let's move on to the big dump truck of news.
Oh, that wasn't a big enough dump truck.
This show's already an hour long, and we haven't even
you gotta remember that dump truck that we just talked about is bigger on the inside.
Yeah,
but this other one is almost competing, could give run for money.
Yeah, like this show's an hour long already, and we haven't even gotten to the main topic yet for this week.
I know. When the BBC announced on, was it Friday or Thursday or Friday, and they said, oh, we're going to be announcing the new Doctor on Sunday, I was just like, oh my gosh, don't you know we already have enough to talk about, BBC? Ugh. When it rains, it pours, guys.
I understand. I think I obviously we don't know the BBC's like mindset behind why the announcement was now. My speculation is, one, it allows them to, going into San Diego Comic-Con, be able to talk about the casting and everything openly, especially because they're going to be showing stuff from the Christmas special, and therefore, it's going to be something people are going to talk about. Therefore,
yeah, they don't want to have to tippy-toe around spoilers.
Yeah, they don't have to tippy-toe around it, and all that. And also, there was kind of a big show that came back last night, so for a few hours, Doctor Who was the thing everyone was talking about until Game of Thrones came back last night.
Well, and what I heard with the return of that show, that broke the internet too, because some people couldn't actually watch it on the internet streaming.
Yeah, apparently the streaming
with the Now app.
Which someone underestimated the bandwidth required at HBO.
I think so.
Good job, guys.
Especially considering it's the last season. Yeah.
Second to last season.
Second to last
season. Sorry,
yeah.
I couldn't.
Kind of a big deal. So, yeah, I watched it earlier, and oh my god. Anyway, that's a topic for another time. Anyway, D23 Expo. Disney's equivalent of San Diego Comic-Con, but only happens every other year. Thank goodness. Was this past weekend, and once again it was full of crowds and costumes and absolute bonkers, and it looks like it is. I know people that go Lou has gone and had a booth every year since the very beginning, so he's a little different. He's special, but I know people that go every year as fans, and especially this year, I guess the crowds were really nuts. And I get with D23 Expo, if you want to go and just enjoy like the floor and see people in costume and see some of the displays and do some shopping and maybe some of the smaller panels, then you'll be okay. If you're wanting to go and essentially the equivalent of Hall H for San Diego, the big presentations, good luck to you, because you're going to spend hours in line just getting into the convention center and then hours in line trying to get into these panels, these big presentations, and there's only so many per day. They only do like 2 like big presentations in the big, hall every day. So it can be kind of nuts if you're expecting to go and be there in the audience when Robert Downey Jr. comes out, which he did. Or
somebody that can help you cut line.
Exactly. So yeah, you have to kind of go into D23 with low expectations about what you're going to see and do, because then you're not going to walk away as disappointed. Unless you're willing to shell out the money for like the super VIP package, which lets you cut the line and all that fun stuff. If you've got the money for that, more power to you. Please take me with you one of these years.
Let me be your +1.
Let me be your +1. I don't take up a lot of room. I can sleep in a chair. Anyway, I will go sleep in the WW Radio booth. I'm sure Lou will not mind.
Just pack a little sleeping bag and
yes,
and your bunny.
You could be Lou's golfer.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. So yeah. So as I was saying before we started recording, I have tried to capture as much of the news as possible for our show notes, but there was just so much that came out of D23 this year. I know we're going to be missing some things, especially in the movie announcements area. So I apologize. I tried. I had like 12 tabs open at one point on my computer, trying to find articles, explaining things, and I just got so overwhelmed. There's just so much.
Well, and you're probably
news.
Pushing the limit of tabs open.
That too. I'm pretty sure my browser was yelling at me.
If I have more than 12 tabs open,
yeah,
my computer will either blue screen of death or just freeze on me. And
yeah. So if we missed something, I am sorry. If you were super excited about the Tim Burton Dumbo announcement, I know this is not on here. I'm sorry. So I know that was a thing. I did not manage to find a link to an article with information and all that. So anyway, so I've kind of broken this up into the two big announcements that they do. They do movies. They separate live action from animation, so they'll do one just for animation and then one just for live action, and then they do parks and resorts. So those are kind of the big three. That and the Legends ceremony, which is the big thing that kind of kicks off the entire convention, is the Disney Legends ceremony, which we talked about when they announced some of the Legends weeks ago. We talked about those announcements: Stan Lee, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher. They added some Legends at some point up to the ceremony. They ended up adding Jack Kirby and Whoopi Goldberg. I know were two that got added that we hadn't talked about previously. And I was very happy and pleasantly surprised to see Stan Lee there. I did not expect him to show up, just because, his wife passed recently, and it's like, if he wanted to stay home, no, I don't think anyone would have begrudged him that. He was ready to go back out and do appearances, but I was very happy to see Stan there, and he gave a lovely speech, talking about, how he was influenced by Walt Disney, and how, he'd seen this book in a bookstore when he was a kid. It was about the art of Walt Disney, and it was expensive at the time for someone, his age in that time period. And he was so upset because he could not afford this book, so he saved his pennies for however long it took, and was finally able to purchase that book, and he just loved it. So we have Walt to thank a little bit for the influence on Stan Lee. And then obviously he gave a nice nod to Jack Kirby, who was, his partner in crime there at Marvel for the longest time between the two of them. Dynasty, that is the Marvel Comics, and the characters and all that. And of course he ended his speech with a rousing Excelsior. So it was I was very happy to see him and to see his speech. And Mark Hamill gave a wonderful speech, and so did Oprah. Those are the ones I watched, and Bob Iger, essentially accepted Carrie Fisher's award on her behalf because her daughter was not able to make it because she's filming American Horror Story, actually. So he read a letter from Billy Lord to the audience, and if you watch the Carrie Fisher segment, be prepared, someone will probably start chopping onions right near you. But it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing in the Legend ceremony. It's always fun to see these because it's one of the highest honors you can get from Disney if you're not someone that works with the like one of the Imagineers, essentially. So that was cool. And then they had the animated movie panel that evening, and then Saturday morning was the live action. So I've kind of combined those two together, and I have mostly live action actually. So we did get our first, which they have not released that to. There's a lot of these things that have not been released to the internet yet. So there's just a lot of descriptions of what was shown to the audience. I guess the audience did get to see a teaser for Mary Poppins Returns. It showed Mary Poppins flying in on her umbrella. There's a shot of Dick Van Dyke dancing on a table. That sounds really fun. Emily Blunt was there to talk about the film, along with the director Rob Marshall, and they're very excited about this movie. I'm excited about it. I love Mary Poppins. It's one of my absolute favorite Disney movies of all times, I love the fact that they're going to keep the original spirit of the film without trying to trample on Mary Poppins, toes. And Emily Blunt is like, no one can be Julie Andrews. She's like, I'm not trying to replace Julie Andrews. It's, she's this my take on Mary Poppins, trying to embody that same spirit and all things. So that sounds really fun. They did post a little teaser-ish GIF thing on social media where it's just Emily Blunt with the umbrella, like, hello, I'm Mary Poppins. So
yep, that's the one I saw.
Yeah. So hopefully, at some point maybe we'll start seeing. We still have more than a year before the movie's due out. We probably have a while before we start seeing things. But that's exciting. And then they did announce the main cast, at least our 3 heroes for the live action remake of Aladdin, which I knew that was had been being mentioned in the news rounds because apparently Disney supposedly was struggling with finding their Aladdin, because they did not want to whitewash if they could help it.
Well, I just thought it was funny because I heard I saw the cast announcement, and then I was like, but wait, like yesterday they were saying they were having. I guess it really wasn't that big of a deal because here they are.
Yeah, I think maybe people were making headlines for the sake of making headlines and clickbait, probably.
Yeah.
Click on my article. Disney can't find an Aladdin that's not white.
I'm just kind of like, come on, people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know you're desperate for clicks, but have some respect.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope I'm not Mina Masund, I guess that's how you pronounce it. I have no idea. I'm sorry. We'll be playing Aladdin, which he apparently is going to be in the TV. I don't know if it's on Netflix or Hulu. Jack Reacher. They're doing a series for Jack Reacher, and apparently, I guess he's going to be in it. He's been in a few things. Again, his IMDb is not that long, so he's only been in a handful of things. But he's from Egypt, so there's no whitewashing here. So people that were getting ready to get up in arms thinking they're going to whitewash Aladdin, they didn't. Apparently this guy really loves posing shirtless on his Instagram, so he's going to have no problem with the costume whatsoever. And then Naomi Scott, who most people probably know her from the Power Rangers reboot, live action reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it. We'll be playing Jasmine, and then this. I don't know how I missed an announcement, but apparently people have known about this casting for a while. Will Smith is going to play the genie.
This could go either really, really great or really, really bad.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know which yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see.
I like him as an actor. It's like it seems like I don't know how I can picture him as the genie.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking it could be Men in Black good or Wild Wild West iffy.
Yeah.
Oh, Wild Wild West was a guilty pleasure of mine.
Yeah.
It's for me, but I mean, other people have complained about Wild Wild West. I mean, I enjoyed it, but there are certain people that...
In recent years, Will Smith's made some... questionable
choices,
casting choices after Earth. Looking at you. So we'll see.
Yeah, he can sing. We do know that. We know Will Smith can carry a tune, which is good.
Yes.
So he's got that going for him. So, but
he's funny. He's always funny. So he has that too.
I think we'll
let's hope the script is on par.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of okay because there is a Broadway version of Aladdin, so I don't want to say like, oh, nobody can replace Robin Williams because there've been other people who've.
Oh yeah,
done I've seen clips of the
I've
Aladdin
seen
Broadway play. That genie is awesome.
Oh yeah,
I like. I'm just kind of like Will Smith. Don't try to be Robin Williams. Just be
like the
Will
Broadway
Smith
version and just make it your own. So
yeah. Exactly. Like take a cue from Emily Blunt. Don't try to be the iconic thing that everybody remembers. Just do your own thing and make it good on your own terms.
Yeah. So.
That's all.
Yes. Because the genie can be absolute. I haven't seen it on Broadway, but I've seen the truncated Broadway version at Disneyland before they replaced it with Frozen. And it's essentially the Broadway version, but cut down into like 45 minutes. But the genie is essentially the same thing where the person playing the genie essentially gets free reign to ad-lib. And it's always hilarious. So, and the one show we saw when we went to Disneyland a couple of years, the person playing the genie is just side-splitting hilarious. So if they decide to go that route, which they really did with Robin Williams, actually, a lot of the genie stuff was ad-lib. They just let him go and just animated around him. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it turns out. Because I know is it Guy Ritchie that's directing this? I think that's who it is. So we'll see how he does. He's an interesting director. So I know he did the Sherlocks with Robert Downey Jr. So so he can be a competent director.
Yes.
But he also did that one movie when he was married to Madonna. So.
Yeah, and then he did Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, something like that.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then Once Upon a Time had a panel. So it happened to be going on the same time as the Parks and Resorts panel. So I guess if you weren't concerned about what they're doing in the parks and were more concerned about Once Upon a Time, here you go. It was not I can't remember who all was there. I know Colin O'Donoghue was there, so but I guess the biggest piece of news to come out of it, and I don't know if we should air a spoiler alert for this, if people really don't want to know about the upcoming season or not. So I guess here's your warning. If you want to know nothing about Once Upon a Time, plug your ears for the next 5 minutes or something. Go to the bathroom and keep your iPod playing or something. I have no idea. But obviously the end of the last season, we see a grown-up Henry. He's got a daughter who apparently he's forgot he had. And that was our cliffhanger for the season. We found out at the panel at D23 that Henry's wife and Lucy, Henry's daughter's mother, is going to be Cinderella, but not the Cinderella we've already seen in Once Upon a Time. So they're apparently going to be playing with this whole, since Henry's moved with and things with the books, that there's a whole other like enchanted forest, but it's almost like, I don't know if it's like a parallel world or what. So we're potentially we'll see characters we've seen before, but they're different iterations because it's not the same enchanted forest storybooks that Henry was the author of and all that up to, where last season ended. This is separate stories, separate enchanted forests, but characters with the same name, but different faces, slightly different stories. We'll also get some new characters, obviously. So, yes, Henry is going to be married to Cinderella at one point, and she's going to be the mother of this little girl. But it's not the same Cinderella that we've already seen. So, that'll be interesting. I guess
to say the least, yes.
To say the least. So
I think I get what they're trying to say. Like, you had the Disney version of Cinderella, and then there's the Roger and Cinderella, and there's different playing around with that sort of idea, but it's just sort of like, that sounds complicated.
Yeah. Adam Horowitz explained it as Henry's the author of the first book, but he wants to go to the place where the happy ending isn't written. They said when he ventures to these new places, we'll actually see different iterations of some of the characters we've come to know and love over the years. So that gives him, like, I guess the option to use the same character name and not confuse themselves, I guess. I don't know. This potentially could be very confusing, but very interesting all at the same time. So it's like when we talk about Once Upon a Time, we're like, oh yeah, that bit was Cinderella. Well, which Cinderella? Yeah. It could be kind of weird. It could be kind of like Doctor Who, I guess. It's like
I guess Pete's World. Maybe that would be the better
main universe
comparison.
And Pete's World, I guess. It's like you're talking about Rose's Jackie or Pete's World Jackie, So who knows? It'll be interesting. So they reiterated that the characters that we know have left more than likely will come back for at least one episode to tie up loose ends. We already knew that Jennifer Morrison would come back for at least one episode, but odds are that we might see Josh Dallas and Jenny Goodwin and all that come back for at least one episode. We're obviously going to see new locations. Adult Henry's living in Seattle. So we're going to get some of that. We're still going to get flashbacks because that's the thing Once Upon a Time does. Let's see. And they said a lot of people were concerned about Hook and what's going to happen to Hook, especially considering, Emma's not going to be in the show anymore, but Hook is staying. They promised that we get a lot of info on what's next for Hook in the first 2 episodes. So the premiere, they're in Seattle. Apparently we're going to see some interesting stuff. And the second episode is titled A Pirate's Life. So we're going to get some Hook fairly quickly, I guess. And then apparently Colin, to round out the panel, engaged in a bursting out singing of Revenge musical episode.
Yes. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah. They're like, Colin O'Donoghue's there. And I'm like, oh, I bet Chrissy wishes she could transplant to D23 right now. So
yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So
I'll
there's
be
that.
all right with it.
Yeah.
That's what I tell myself.
Yeah. So that's Once Upon a Time, and then obviously the two big are Marvel and Star Wars. They did do a bit about Infinity War. A good chunk of the cast did show up. Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, almost everyone showed up. Karen Gillan. So it was a good combination. It wasn't just the Avengers. It wasn't just Guardians of the Galaxy. Josh Brolin, aka Thanos, was there. So they had a nice photo op there of this nice big group of comic book characters, hanging out. They did show footage from Infinity War. It has not been put on the internet yet. It's probably not going to end up on the internet, as far as I can tell. The Russo brothers have been asked repeatedly when we're going to get a trailer of some sort, and they just keep saying soon. That's all they keep telling us is soon. So there is Infinity War footage out there. People have seen it, but not us. And I'm kind of mad. So whether something will drop at San Diego this coming weekend, we'll just have to wait and see. It is still kind of early for full-on trailers, but I would expect maybe a teaser at some point in the next few months, and then more than likely we will get a full-on trailer for Thor Ragnarok. More than likely. So, but yeah, that whole Marvel thing, you see all those people on stage, I'm like, oh, why am I not invited to these things?
Right?
Invite me, please. I promise I won't molest anyone too much.
We'll be good fangirls, we promise.
Exactly, we'll behave. And then obviously Star Wars: The Last Jedi. That was the other big one. And they had a good number of the cast show up. Not nearly as much for Infinity War, but obviously Mark Hamill was already there because he'd been made a Disney legend. I think John Boyega was there. So just a few of the cast from The Last Jedi was there. And no, we did not get a trailer. A lot of people thought maybe we get a new trailer for Last Jedi. We did get a featurette, a behind-the-scenes featurette, which is pretty cool, and that has been put on the internet officially. So you can go and watch that if you want. Be prepared for some laughs and some feels because obviously there's. Anytime you see Carrie Fisher now, especially after passing, it's like, aww. Makes you a little sad and at the same time excited to see anything from Star Wars. So that you can watch. So that's cool. And when we'll get a new trailer for that? Eventually. So I'm not sure what kind of presence Star Wars is going to have at San Diego Comic-Con. I've been so wrapped up in D23, I haven't had a chance to look at the San Diego schedule yet to see what all's going to be there. So, once we get beyond this, then I can start concentrating on, okay, what do I need to start watching out for as far as things trending on Twitter at certain times of the day. So that's what I've got for TV and movie. I know there are other announcements. The Tim Burton live action Dumbo, Wreck-It Ralph 2, The Incredibles 2, all sorts of things as far as movies and stuff. It was just so much to take in. And that doesn't even cover Disney Parks and Resorts, which... We've got a lot to go on here, so
there is, it just keeps going and going and going.
Oh yeah, this is bigger on the inside. Yeah, it is bigger on the inside. So I've got this kind of broken down by location ish. kind of. So we'll start with essentially it's not one particular park because it's two for Disneyland and Walt Disney World. We got some new info for what we've been calling Star Wars Land. It now officially has a name. It is not Star Wars Land. It is Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which doesn't quite roll off the tongue as easily as Star Wars Land. So
I have to say that makes me think of a phone. Sorry,
yeah,
but
Samsung Galaxy's
I think people
Edge.
are still going to call it Star Wars Land. Sorry,
Pretty much,
Disney.
yeah. It's kind of like at Universal. It's the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I call it Harry Potter World.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just easier to say. It's like it's Harry Potter World.
Yeah. Sorry. I know they probably worked really hard on the copywriting, the and the marketing and the focus group testing, and it's kind of like
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Like sorry, we're lazy and don't like to say a lot of words. So. So, yeah, it's going to be Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Disneyland's is going to open before the one in Florida. Although they didn't specify how far apart the openings were going to be. So, if you're someone, I guess, like Lou who wants to try to go to both, he potentially could, I guess. But they are both going to open in 2019. So they will open the same year, just not at the same time. So there's that, and they did give some more details about what we'll see. Obviously, we know there's going to be an attraction where you feel like you're flying the Millennium Falcon. There's also going to be a ride that takes you through a Star Destroyer hangar bay. So that would be kind of cool. They mentioned some of the characters that you're going to see. Obviously, BB-8, Precious Cinnamon Roll, Chewbacca, members of the First Order, including Kylo Ren, and some characters from the animated series, Rebels and Clone Wars. And then a nice little nostalgic nod. The restaurant in Galaxy's Edge is going to have blue milk, of course. That'll be yummy on a hot Florida day. Nothing says refreshing like dairy products when it's 500 degrees outside.
Some
But
new ice cream.
yeah, if you are familiar with the oh crap, I can't think of the restaurant now. It's in Tomorrowland in the Magic Kingdom. Ah, crap. Now that I'm talking about it, I can't think of it. There's a restaurant in the Magic Kingdom in Tomorrowland, and there is a character called Sunny Eclipse. And he is kind of your meal entertainment. He only pops up at certain times. He's an animatronic. He sings songs about space and the planets and that sort of thing. And it just gives you something to look and listen to while you're eating your burger and fries and that sort of thing. But they are going to do something similar for Galaxy's Edge, but instead of Sunny Eclipse, it is going to Cosmic Ray Starlight Cafe. That's what the restaurant's called. Anyway, I cannot think of it. He even sings about it in one of the songs. But he sings about how Cosmic Ray doesn't pay him very well. But they're going to do something similar at the restaurant in Galaxy's Edge, except your in-restaurant entertainment is going to be Rex, who is your original pilot from the original version of Star Tours. So if you ever rode Star Tours before they did the update and C-3PO became your pilot, there was a droid named Rex who was your pilot, who took you on your wacky adventure because it was his first time ever piloting a starship, and he gets you lost, and you end up in the trench battle from episode 4 and that sort of thing. So apparently Rex since he got the boot at Star Tours, has found new employment at Galaxy's Edge as a DJ.
He's probably better suited for that.
He might be. So they've not said, if as far as guest interaction and what he may say and do. I don't know if they'll have the same voice actor, because Rex in Star Tours was actually voiced by Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman. So I don't know if they'll get Paul Rubens to come and do new voice work for Rex in this new job or what. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But that's a nice little Easter egg essentially. So if you're old enough to have rode Star Tours, the original version, then you'll know who Rex is. Otherwise, it may get lost on some people. But for those of us that are old enough and have been going long enough, there you go. So that was exciting, and that affects. They have not said anything different, so pretty much everything they say you can expect it on both parks. So both coasts, you'll find the same things unless they say otherwise. So, but at this point, they should be pretty identical, I think. So if you can only, if one park is closer to you, don't feel like you're missing out something if you can only go to one and not the other, which is kind of good, I think. Anyway. There may be little Easter eggs and things that they may do that are nods to something that's unique to one coast or the other. But I think the overall aesthetic and attractions will be pretty much the same with both coasts. So, and if we move across the pond over to Disneyland Paris, their hotel there, the Hotel New York, is getting a facelift and a rework, and it is now going to be Disney's Hotel New York. That's what's called. Sunny Eclipse calls it New York. The Art of Marvel. So essentially, it's going to be a Marvel themed hotel, and I'm very excited. As soon as they said that, I'm like, okay, how long is this going to take? How soon can I get to Paris? Please and thank you.
Start the passport application now.
Yeah, I've already got one. It's ready to go. Cool. I'm going on a cruise next year. I'm prepared. So yeah, they're saying the Parks and Resorts chairman said, we're going to create a hotel at Disneyland Paris that would make Tony Stark proud. So pretty much every time something Marvel was mentioned during this presentation, I squeed a lot. So I mean, pretty much everything I was like, yay, but then anytime the word Marvel was dropped, I'm like, yes. So always excited about the Marvel. So that's exciting. And then bouncing back over to California.
But
yes.
With normally, if I would go anywhere that's not the United States, I wouldn't want to go somewhere that remind me of the United States because I would want to do something foreign. But this case, I would definitely go to a place called Disney Hotel New York.
Yes.
In Paris.
Especially the Art of Marvel.
Well, when it's Art of Marvel, I mean, yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, Disneyland Paris is a lot smaller, from what I understand, compared to its United States parks. And there's only a couple of hotel options. So if you want to be as close to the park as possible, that's kind of where you have to stay anyway. They've only got 3 or 4 hotel options that are close enough to Disneyland Paris. So if you want to be right there, those are your options. So, but yeah, now definitely whenever we make that trip over to Paris, I know what hotel we're going to stay at. Marvel! So obviously if you want to see other parts of Paris and not want to be entrenched in Disney, you may want to stay someplace else. that's closer to the other tourist attractions, I guess, like, the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre and all that. You would have to be elsewhere. But if you're going to Paris strictly for Disneyland, there you go. And you're a Marvel fan, yes, please. So, okay. Let's move back to California, to Disneyland and California Adventure. Their hotel, one of their hotels, Paradise Pier, again, apparently it's just much easier to re-theme hotels instead of building a brand new one, especially in places where they don't have the land like they do, in Florida. So the
Disneyland and California Adventure, it's pretty limited.
A little bit. So the Paradise Pier Hotel is going to get re-themed to Pixar Pier. So they're going to add a lot more Pixar elements to the hotel itself. And actually, kind of California in a whole is kind of doing this Pixar focus this year and next year, with a lot of the announcements that I don't know if they're just like, here, let's distract people with Pixar while we're building Galaxy's Edge over here.
Yeah, well, California Adventure's got a lot of Pixar-themed stuff already anyway. Like, there's the Bugs Life Land and Cars.
Cars Land,
Cars Land, and then even Paradise Pier. Because there's a hotel Paradise Pier, and there's the section that's Paradise Pier with the big roller coaster and the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
There's like the Toy Story Midway where they have all the little games that you play. So California Adventure's kind of becoming Pixar Land anyway. Yeah,
a little bit. But they're in 2018 they're going to be having Pixar Fest. So they're going to do. They're bringing back the Pixar Play Parade, which used to be at California Adventure, is moving over to Disneyland, and then Paint the Night is moving over to California Adventure, which that kind of disappointed me. I was really hoping they would say Paint the Night is moving to Florida. I desperately Paint the Night as. Oh my god, I fell in love with this parade when we were at Disneyland. It's probably one of my favorite nighttime parades ever. It is a fabulous parade. The floats are amazing. The music is catchy. It will get in your head for forever. It is awesome. And I really hope at some point they can figure out how to move it to Florida. There's some logistic problems with some of the floats are a bit on the big side. But knowing Disney, they would figure out a way to make it work. If they got to adjust the parade routes or tweak the floats or somehow. But I feel, I want to see the parade again, for one thing. And two, I know people that are in Florida. Walt Disney World's their home resort. They cannot make it out to California. It's just not feasible, so to just kind of have that swap, because they moved the Main Street Electrical Parade out to California, and Walt Disney World has been without a nighttime parade since last October. There's only been the 3 o'clock parade and the evening fireworks, and then the specialty parades during like the Halloween party and the Christmas party. But they've been without a regular nighttime parade since they moved the Main Street Electrical Parade. So I was really hoping they would say Paint the Night is moving to Florida, just so I could share the amazingness with all of my friends at Walt Disney World's their home park. But alas, not yet. Not yet. And then they are going to do at Halloween time, Cars Land is getting a whole Halloween overlay. Where they're going to turn Radiator Springs into this whole festive Halloween thing, too. So that sounds kind of fun. I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to win the lottery. So much good stuff going on. So much.
I need to go back. I need to go back to Disneyland.
Yeah, me too.
I just need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, I need to go. And then the other big thing for California is if you have paid attention to the video and the pictures that came out when they opened the Mission Breakout, when they did the Guardians of the Galaxy revamp for Tower of Terror, people noticed what they assumed was an Easter egg to the side of the Tower of Terror. So some will call it Tower of Terror. Mission Breakout. Next to the Collector's building, the Collector's Tower, there is a hatch in the ground with the Avengers logo on it. And a lot of people are like, does that mean something? Is it just an Easter egg? Is it a photo opportunity? What's going on here? And at D23, they essentially confirmed that, yes, Mission Breakout is the beginnings of a Marvel area expansion for that park. So there are plans to bring more of the Avengers to California Adventure. And that's all they had to say about that. So they would not get into any more detail. They did specifically name drop Iron Man and Spider-Man. But beyond that, we don't know. They got to keep some secrets. They got to keep us coming back. So probably something that'll be announced at the next D23 Expo in 2 years. More than likely. And then actually, before we get to Walt Disney World, I'm going to jump to Disney Cruise Line, where they had previously mentioned that they were going to build 2 new cruise ships, but they dropped a pleasant surprise and said, no, it's going to be 3. So there are 3 new cruise ships coming that will all be completed by 2023. And all 3 of these ships are going to be bigger. They're going to be the biggest of the fleet. And are actually going to be environmentally friendly because they're going to be powered by liquefied natural gas. So, that's going to be kind of cool. So,
that's a thing.
Yeah. And I'm always down for more cruise ships and more itineraries because I love cruising, especially on Disney. Oh, so good. Such fun.
I always wanted to do that.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite memories when I used to live in Florida. Is my dad used to walk, not on a Disney cruise ship, but on like another one.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go down to visit him. And when the Disney cruise ships would go out, I loved just standing on the pier and watching them go out.
Yeah.
Especially because they played the music.
Yes. So, that's exciting. More cruise ships. Oh, my passport's ready. It's gonna have to be renewed before that last ship is ready, but I'm okay with that. I'm ready. So, okay, let's move on to Walt Disney World, where the big majority of the news came from. So we're gonna be bouncing around here from park to park to park. They announced plans for a Star Wars inspired resort. Which that in itself is exciting because all of Disney's hotels are themed to something, whether it's the art of animation or the Colorado Rockies and the mountainous West with the Wilderness Lodge or Animal Kingdom Lodge, so it's themed to Africa and African animals, that sort of thing. So a Star Wars themed resort sounds really cool in itself, but Disney, being Disney, they can't just do a themed resort because where's the fun in that? As exciting as it would be to sleep in TIE Fighter themed bed sheets, they wanted to go beyond that. So if you are someone that stays at said resort, it is going to be a completely immersive experience. So the time that you're staying at these resorts, you're going to live, breathe, eat, and dress Star Wars. So it's not
dress Star Wars, huh?
Yes. So
that's intriguing.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute immersive experience. So if you're a big Star Wars fan, here's your chance to live it, essentially. There's no timeline on when this is going to be done, and I imagine it's not going to be cheap to stay there. But if you're looking for an experience, I'm sure it's probably going to be worth every penny. So yeah, that's like it could be a fun thing for down the road for Chauncey, especially Chauncey because he's a big Star Wars fan. So. And then over at Epcot, the one park where if you walk out of that park hungry because you couldn't find anything you like to eat, you did it wrong. It's true. Epcot is getting a new restaurant. It's going to go adjacent to Mission Space, which is in Future World. But it is going to be this restaurant is literally going to be out of this world. It's going to be space themed, and while you're inside the restaurant, you're going to feel like you're in outer space. I don't know if that means you're going to get space food. I'm kind of hoping freeze-dried ice cream is on the menu. As cheesy as that sounds.
They should have that.
Yeah, I know they should. I know at Disney they'll find some way to fancy it up. But so it's going to be space themed. So you when you go into the restaurant and you look out the windows, it's going to look like you're in outer space. There's going to be stars and maybe spaceships floating by. I have no idea, but concept art would look pretty cool. There was an astronaut outside the window kind of floating woo, look at me while you're eating your chicken and steak. But I'm always down for a new place to eat, and I'm sure Lou is as well. I'm pretty sure he drooled a little when they made that announcement. I
don't know how it's possible, but kind of neat if they can somehow do anti-gravity. If maybe just really. A little bit of it.
Yeah.
Which I don't know.
Find some way to simulate it without making you sick, so you don't lose your lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be helpful.
Yeah. Over at the Magic Kingdom, there are plans to build a Broadway-style theater on Main Street, USA. That is actually going to be, the architecture is going to be inspired by the Willis Wood Theater in Kansas City, which is where Walt grew up.
Oh, cool.
Which that is something that the Magic Kingdom probably could use. There is a theater in the Animal Kingdom where they do, actually they have two, but one's an actual stage theater where they do the Finding Nemo musical. And then they have the Festival of the Lion King, but that's in the round and it's on the ground, so it's not your typical theater. And then at California Adventure, they've got the Hyperion Theater, which used to house the Aladdin stage show, which I talked about earlier, and now houses musical instead. But Disney has always been one for entertainment shows, especially Broadway-style shows. So I think this would be a fun addition to the Magic Kingdom and give people another option to go kick their feet up for a while and enjoy some high-class, well-done entertainment. So that should be fun. And then also in the Magic Kingdom, this was kind of one of Disney's kind of, it was an announcement. A lot of people were kind of expecting this one because it had been rumored. But there is a attraction in Shanghai. It is the Tron Light Cycles, and apparently it is one of the most popular attractions. So they're bringing it to Florida. It's going to go in the Magic Kingdom right next to Space Mountain.
Nice.
So I actually don't know a whole lot about this attraction. I've kind of avoided seeing video and anything from Shanghai, even though it's probably going to be a while before I get to Shanghai. I'm I don't want to get spoiled on anything.
Well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing you stayed away from that, getting it in Florida.
Exactly. And odds are I'm probably going to get to this one before I even get to Shanghai. So the odds of me getting to Shanghai before 2021 are probably kind of slim, actually, at the moment. But they showed a short like clip when they made the announcement. Just the bit that I saw, I'm like, ooh, that looks cool. So what I've heard, it's high energy. The technology is really cool. So they only said that it's going to go next to Space Mountain, but odds are the raceway, the Autotopia, is probably going to go bye-bye. I could be wrong because there is space. There's a walkway that goes in between Space Mountain and behind the cars and kind of leads you to what used to be Mickey's Toontown Fair. So there's space behind that tree line, but considering the Autotopia is getting up there in age and, it's not the most comfortable ride. I kind of avoid them just because the cars are very jerky and they're not the most comfortable. I would not be upset to see it go away personally. But we'll see. What they decide to do as far as rearranging things over there. But that is supposed to be open in time for Disney World's 50th anniversary in 2021. So you can mark your calendars now, I guess, that it'll be open the next 4 years.
Holy cow. I remember when they were making a big deal out of Disney World's 25th anniversary.
I know.
Like 50th? Oh my gosh. Okay.
And then over at Hollywood Studios, they are going to be building the first ever Mickey-themed ride-through attraction, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And this is actually going to go where the Great Movie Ride sits now, which a lot of people are very upset that the Great Movie Ride is going away. I can kind of understand that. It's a fun attraction. It's a good sit back and put up your feet for a little while attraction. It's kind of cheesy, but in a good way. But it's not. They either desperately needed to be really updated, or replaced with something else. It could not continue to be the attraction that it was, and I guess Disney decided it was more economically feasible to just gut it and put something else in the spot. Which it sucks. The great movie ride is someone who loves classic movies. It bites. It bites to lose an attraction, but at the same time, I'm always excited to see something new, especially when it involves new technology, which is always cool. And this is the Mickey and Minnie ride. Will essentially allow you to step into a Mickey Mouse cartoon and let you experience what it's like to be in a cartoon. It's going to have a lot of bright colors and I don't know if interactive is the best word, but a lot of things are going to happen to you while in the ride, and they explain in the presentation, it's like this sounds like it would involve, you need to wear like 3D glasses like you do for like Star Tours. It's like, no, you won't have to. They're calling it 2.5D.
Okay.
Yes, they showed a short clip of a test that they did, and it looks like what they're using is really sophisticated projection mapping, which allows you to get 3D elements with 2D. So if you get really good projection mapping, things can look 3D while it being only 2D. It allows for very vibrant colors and quick movement and that sort of thing. So technology-wise, it looks really, really cool. Aesthetically, I mean, I love Mickey and Minnie. They're using the same style that the Mickey cartoons are being shown now on TV. That particular animation style, I don't really care for. It's I don't know the word. It's aesthetically, it's just not pleasing to me. The particular look of the cartoons. But I think it'll fit really well with the attraction because it's very woo cartoon, zany, Mickey Mouse, runaway train type thing with Goofy and their friends and that sort of thing. And bright colors, kids are gonna love it. So we'll see. But the Great Movie Ride is closing actually next month, so it's gonna be. If you want to ride it one more time, you don't have a lot of time to get to it. So
get on that.
Get on that. And then going back to Epcot, again, one of Disney's worst kept secrets because a lot of things people speculate and guess because Disney. People are very judicious about keeping track of when Disney files things like patents and building permits. And so Disney files something and people are like, oh, what is it? What are they doing with this particular permit? That sort of thing. There, I guess a permit building permit had been filed or something. So people were speculating that they were going to be building a attraction in Epcot in the France Pavilion at World Showcase. That is the case. It's going to be themed on Ratatouille. So you will get essentially shrunk down to the size of a mouse and get to go on a zany adventure through the restaurant with Remy and all of his little rat friends. So, yay! So I guess it's similar to an attraction they have in Disneyland Paris, which is quite popular. So, which is good because the France Pavilion, it's got a film telling you about France and the culture and everything. It's got some really fabulous restaurants, especially the bakery. Woohoo! French pastries for days. Not a car. Yet to meet a carb I don't like, especially when it comes in the form of a croissant. But an attraction would be fun just because of the countries that are in World Showcase. Mexico has a ride. Norway has a ride. I'm trying to think. Oh, good Lord, it's been a while since I've been there. Most of the countries don't have rides. They have shows, like either live performers and some sort of movie to tell you about the country and the culture. Some of them are just a regular movie on a movie screen. A few of them have the 360 movie, where the screen wraps completely around you. They call it circle vision. Actually, the movie in China is getting a brand new movie in digital, so it's going to be seamless, which is kind of cool. So that was another exciting thing. So having another ride, I think is kind of a good thing for World Showcase, because you can only eat so much. I know somewhere Lou Mangello is going, what? But I'm sorry, Lou, but my tank is only so big. I gotta stop eating at some point and do something else and digest and make room for the next meal. So a ride is good. So that should be fun. And then the big announcement, at least to me, the one where they announced it and I kind of screamed a little. It was a good thing nobody was within earshot of me. They probably would have thought someone had died or something. But over in Future World, so the other half of World Showcase, which, you know, Epcot is weird because it's like Walt had this dream of he wanted Epcot not to be a theme park, but like an actual living like community where people worked and shopped and went to the doctor and that sort of thing. And that kind of what created Future World. And then World Showcase was kind of based on a World's Fair type thing. And they kind of took the two together. Literally, they had like the models for both. And they're like, well, which one can we build? And then someone like pushed the two together and said, boom, there you go, one big park. And they're like, okay. So that's where we got Epcot from. But Future World has been a victim, not by its fault by any means, but it has been the victim of time, where it takes so long for them to build anything. By the time they built it, the futuristic part of it can almost be dated. It's really hard to stay innovative quickly, especially these days where technology is just improving, you know, really, really, really quickly. So the whole Future World type has struggled to try to remain technologically relevant to what's going on with the rest of the world with technology and everything. So they have they've kind of shifted the focus to not so much trying to showcase new and upcoming technology, just because that's really hard to keep on top of, to using new technology to tell a story. So that way they can still say, hey, look at this cool new technology, without being like, hey, look at this technology that's out of date 6 months ago, type of thing. So you get to experience a story with the technology without being concerned whether the technology's, you know, new and exciting. You know, you just know you're getting told a really cool story and you're getting a really cool experience, and that sort of thing. So I totally get that. You know, I can't keep up with what the kids are into these days, so I kind of feel the same way. And I'm just one person. There is a attraction in Future World called Ellen's Energy Adventure. It has been open since the 90s, and it's Ellen. It's Ellen DeGeneres. It's Ellen DeGeneres and Bill Nye the Science Guy. And Alex Trebek, actually. There's a whole thing with Jeopardy that's included in that. And essentially, it is Bill Nye teaching Ellen DeGeneres about energy. Starting with the dinosaurs. There's giant animatronic dinosaurs and all these weird things. It is a slow-moving attraction. It is a great attraction if you want to kick up your feet and take a nap. I have napped on this ride. I will admit to it. It's like 45 minutes long. And it's slow-moving. It's quiet. One of the last times I rode it, the section with the dinosaurs didn't even, they were moving, but there was no sound. The sound was not working. It is old. I was going to put it this way. It is old. It is outdated. The technology it's starting to show its age, and the wear and tear is desperately needed updated in the worst way possible, and not even in a, let's show, you know, like they were trying to show technology that was new at the time. It's very dated looking. It looks like it came out of the 90s. So and in recent years, it's even been an attraction that's not open all the time, just because it's probably cheaper to have it turned off when the crowds are low and save on the electricity and the man hours to have people running it. And so they've only had it open when it's been busier and needed some place for people to go. So yeah, Ellen, I'm sorry. You're funny. Bill Nye, you're awesome, but you needed to go, and you finally are. But what made me very excited, as I alluded to earlier, anytime the word Marvel was mentioned, I kind of, squeezed myself a little. And this was the biggest squeeze of them all. Ellen is getting the boot and getting replaced with Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm so excited!
We are Groot.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I am so excited. I mean, I love Guardians of the Galaxy anyway. I would have been excited, regardless of which Marvel property it was. It's just the fact that we are finally getting Marvel in Florida. Finally! This has been a long time coming. So, if our listeners don't know, when Disney bought the Marvel properties, they had to make an agreement with Universal Studios that they would not put anything Marvel in the Florida parks because Marvel already has their own land in Universal Studios in Florida. And they didn't want to have them competing with them. In the recent years, they've been able to make some exceptions where they've had the Guardians of the Galaxy make appearances at private events. They've got Baby Groot and Star-Lord as a meet and greet at the moment because the Guardians, I think, were such an obscure property and they're not already represented over at Universal that they can make an exception. And I think that's probably what the case is now. But just the fact that it's now opening the door that if we can get one Marvel themed attraction, that hopefully others will follow eventually. So this is super exciting. It's not going to be Tower of Terror, obviously. It's going to be a completely different attraction. It doesn't have a name or anything yet other than it's just Guardians of the Galaxy. Their justification, their story for why the Guardians would be in Epcot is that Peter Quill visited Epcot as a child before he got abducted by Yondu and the Ravagers. They had a Polaroid.
I'll take it.
Yeah, they had a Polaroid they showed of a young Peter Quill in front of Spaceship Earth. Like, oh, this is brilliant. I love it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. We're finally getting Marvel in Florida. Oh, this has been a long time coming. And I am so excited.
So you're saying you're excited about it?
Just a little. Just a smidge. Just a tad. So, yeah, I am... And... the Guardians attraction, also supposed to be done in time for the 50th anniversary for Walt Disney World, so it should be done by 2021, so not that long, which is awesome. So excited. So, yeah. That was kind of the, they were talking about Epcot and Ratatouille and the new restaurant and all these other things. Future World and blah blah and all these things that they were saying about it, and they're like, and so we're excited to announce we're going to be building an attraction based around Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I am Groot. I was very excited. I'm still excited. I was like dancing for like an hour afterwards. Oh, we're getting my... And that's just really... those are... to me, that was like the biggest announcement. Most exciting for me. Obviously, depending on what your interests are, there's going to be... other things if you really love just eating, obviously a new restaurant is an exciting announcement. I know Lou is probably very thrilled, especially that and 3 new cruise ships, because that means 3 new cruise ships full of food as well.
And I saw all his pictures from the
all you can
cruise
eat
they
food.
took. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Disney Dream or something?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, 3 new cruise ships of all you can eat food is always a good thing. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many exciting announcements that came out of D23 Expo. It's redonkulous how much excitement Disney can cram into 3 days. I mean, there were amazing costumes. They had a costume contest, and they had some amazing costumes that won prizes, and deservedly so. There were celebrity autograph opportunities. I know Lou's wife got to meet Michael Rooker yesterday. They had a life-size vault for Scrooge McDuck that people could jump into.
It's basically like a ball pit, wasn't it?
Essentially. It was essentially a ball pit, except the balls were, coins, gold coins instead.
Yes. Someone was saying on the Salt Lake Comic-Con page was like, "Hey, we need to get this here."
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, good luck with that, but it'd be cool."
Yeah. There was a concert with Alan Menken.
Ooh.
Yes, that was exciting. The people that went to the Parks and Resorts presentation got a special pass that got them Fantasmic, which is the nighttime show at Disneyland, had been going under it officially reopens tonight as we're recording this Monday, but they did 2 pre-opening night shows for the people at D23. If you were at the Parks and Resorts presentation, you got a pass for either Saturday night or Sunday night's Fantasmic. So there's just all shopping, all sorts of exclusive merchandise, and just Lou was there with a booth, hanging out and live streaming a lot. So I mean, D23, it's big, it's huge, it's crowded, it's nutso. I know I saw some complaints about the crowds and how the crowds were handled. This is only the 4th or 5th D23 Expo, because they only do it every other year. So Disney's still, I think, figuring out the kinks and everything. But hopefully they, each year they're improving on the issues that they had in the previous one, especially considering if they keep with every other year, there will be and this is an odd-numbered year, so if they continue with this pattern, that means there will be a D23 Expo the year of Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary in 2021, and then there will be a D23 Expo in 2023, which is the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company.
Oh boy!
Yeah.
That'll be a big party.
Yeah, so if you're thinking of going to D23 Expo in the next couple of ones, you may want to plan accordingly, because as we get closer to those milestone years, it's probably only going to get worse. So,
although maybe they'll have the crowds figured out better by then, maybe. Or they'll work on it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, anytime you're dealing with crowds, large crowds of very excited people that are very enthusiastic about something, it's, as much as you try, it's never going to run smoothly, just because you're dealing with human beings and human emotions and human reactions to things. I mean, San Diego Comic-Con, who has been doing their thing for eons, and they're not getting any smaller, obviously. They're only getting bigger. And Hall H, is the big thing. And, they tweaked the way they do things, allowing, changing the way people line up. Live streaming, I think, is where they're going to try that this year. I'm going to try doing some live streaming or posting video, like, right after the panel takes place, that sort of thing. It's anytime you deal with anything that involves large crowds, there's going to be hiccups, and you just kind of have to be able to roll with it. So, but hopefully I'll make it to D23 one of these years.
It's your bucket list item.
Oh yes, definitely it is. So, anyway, so that's it for Fandom Christmas Part 1. And as we're recording this, San Diego Comic-Con starts later this week, so we'll be back next week with an even more dump truck worth of news.
Oh, and just one little bit of housekeeping this morning. I did post the poll for August's book choice for our Goodreads book club.
Yay!
For Traveling the Vortex.
So go vote on that, people.
Yep.
Yes.
And yeah, and if you have any thoughts about D23, anything we missed with like we said, there was a ton of stuff that it was just not feasible to talk about all of it. But if there's anything you want to make mention of, send us in feedback, or if you want to talk about any of our news items, particularly the Doctor Who casting announcement, have any insight, venting, soapbox, or just want to squee about it. Squeeing is always welcome. You can send us feedback. Our email address is fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. And you can also visit us at our website, which is thefiveishfangirls.com. There you can find links to all of our social media goodness, which we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Kind of our main ones. We're on other things too, but those are the ones that people seem to like to interact with us on the most. So there's that. And you can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and the Google Play Store. Download us, listen to us. And we also have a YouTube channel, which our podcast gets posted there as well. And if you would like to help support the show by things other than commenting and downloading and such, you can also donate to us on Patreon, and we always thank our Patreon supporters for the financial support they offer that makes it possible for this to go out onto the interwebs. Because these things cost money. It's a funny thing that. And then also, if you don't, you can also shop through our Amazon store, which is also on the aforementioned website, and we get a little portion of that, and that helps us deal with the costs as well. And we've been doing so much shopping on Amazon for baby stuff, and we're like, go through the website, go through the podcast store first, and so hopefully that's helping. But yeah, anyway, so find us online, and we're there, and let us know what you think about just whatever. And you all, like we said, we read out feedback and comments on the podcast, and thank you all for leaving those comments, because that helps make our podcast awesome too. So,
yay! Oh, and
anything else?
If anyone's headed to San Diego Comic-Con, send us a tweet, I guess, if you see anything cool or interesting.
Yeah. We'll take your San Diego Comic-Con reports as well.
Yes.
If there's anybody out there wanting anything interesting you see, or people you run into, or whatever it may be, because there's another thing that's like impossible to cover everything going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. In a good way. It's the good kind of crazy. The kind. Yeah. The kind that's fun. Makes your head spin a little bit. Anyway. All right. Well, I think with that, we shall speak.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. We're getting more.
I think she's a little bit excited about it.
Just a tiny bit.
have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.